Thank you so much for joining us. So why now? Why has Biden stepped down now after weeks, in fact, months of speculation?
Well, I think, obviously after the debate, there were folks who started to trickle out and say, it's time for him to get out of the race. There was a lot of social media uproar. We saw it. The difference is there was a circular firing squad. I am not going to sugarcoat this. I personally don't think that this was handled in the most professional way. I think there were a lot of forces behind the scenes that were looking for an opportunity to join a new ticket, to get some campaign contracts. I mean, this is a billion-dollar industry. It's quite different than the UK system. Our political system runs year-round, 24/7, and there is a cottage industry. It's not a cottage industry. It is a major industry, a political industrial complex that benefits from these races. And when, we didn't have a primary this cycle, that shut out a lot of folks who probably could get some contracts. And not to mention, there are people down ballot who were worried about the polls affecting them. But I truly feel a lot of that was out of fear. Now, I'm not denying that President Biden has been dealing with cognitive issues. As your previous interview said, this has been known for a long time. I'm actually faulting the Democratic National Committee, which I was a part of reforming, in not taking those reforms seriously and shutting out a real deliberative process to, in 2020, pushing out other candidates, coming behind. Joe Biden was 5th place in 2020.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris didn't win a primary state. So to subvert democracy in order to push forward President Biden, who I think, by the way, let me be very clear, has been a very good president, far more progressive, especially domestic.
So this is a gift to Trump and Vance, isn't it? Because Kamala Harris is even less popular. She's polling even less well than President Biden. So surely this is an absolute win for Trump and Vance.
I actually don't think so at all. You see, especially even after Trump's shooting and the RNC, which usually gets a bump, that they didn't bump up at all. It was just that Joe Biden was sinking in the polls. And not drastically. Everyone keeps saying drastically. It was with a couple points over the margin of error, something that was very manageable, especially at this stage in the race. But the problem was you had all of the president's allies coming around him, pressuring him, and his social media and media operation, pressuring him to get out of the race, which was left a little confidence. And of course, the donors started to pull out. And that's really how this is all run. So I think really it's for Kamala Harris to reinvigorate the party now. Already you're seeing a boost in fundraising, the best fundraising day in history. Yesterday, I believe 2,000 African-American women got on a Zoom call to talk about operationalizing and organizing and supporting Kamala Harris. Excuse me, I think it was 20,000, not 2,000. So you see a party that in 24 hours, less than 24 hours, has been reinvigorated. And not to forget that this election is very much going to be decided by women. That is how it's been for the last several cycles, especially those independent women. And those women are not pulling towards the Trump-Vance ticket, partially because of their records, especially Vance. Well, both of them are pretty bad, but Vance has been pretty vocal about his positions. As a 39-year-old, you'd think that he wouldn't want to go back 100 years, especially somebody who was anti-Trump just a few years ago. So this, I think, is going to be very good all around. And, women do vote more loyally than men do. And Republicans are doubling down on young conservative voters who just don't have the track record in turning out as women do.
OK, interesting. It's going to be a fascinating couple of months. Nomiki Konst, the former Democratic National Committee Commissioner, thanks very much for joining us.